welcome. So today my suggestion is going to be about pelvic awareness, about bringing the attention to our pelvis, okay? And because we sit a lot, well, I don't know about you, but maybe I sit too much. So I think it can be a good exploration to do in different circumstances. So for today, you're gonna need a towel in a little roll. It can be like a small towel. So if you want to pause the video and go and grab one and then come back. So if you have one already, if you anticipated that, so good, we're gonna start. So for this first exploration with a towel, I'm gonna do this on the floor, but you can sit on a chair or on a bench, okay, if sitting on the floor is not comfortable, okay? So first we're gonna start by checking in with our bodies, okay? So I'm gonna sit with my legs crossed because I feel comfortable in this position, but you may sit with your legs forward, bent or straight. You can even use your hands for support if you need to. But I'm gonna choose this position, and let's just check in with the body and notice today what is asking for attention. Is there any particular sensation or feeling that is emerging? And if so, please take your notes about the intensity of those sensations and perceptions and the space that they take in the body. And then let's bring our attention to our pelvis, that we're sitting over it, and let's find our sit bones. So you may even move around a little bit. You can use your hands. Try to find the right sit bone and the left sit bone. It will be the harder, bony structures that you're going to feel on the floor or on the chair. And then just notice if your weight is even on top of the sit bones, or if one side of the pelvis has more support than the other, or if it's taking more space on the floor or not, or if it feels even, okay? You can also notice a sense of space, of distance there is between one sit bone and the other. And then just take a few moments to breathe and notice the space and the availability you have to breathe right now in this moment. And it's very natural if you place your attention in your breath that you tend to expand or amplify the breath, maybe to make it more noticeable. So just allow yourself a little time to let the breath settle and become more natural, okay? And then you can notice the space that it's taking and where it's moving in your body, the breath. If it goes all the way to your pelvis or not, or if the movement just stays here in your chest, in your thoracic, in your rib cage. Okay, now that you've taken a few observations, a few notes, let's pick our towel and let's put the towel across like this, and we're going to sit on top of the towel so that one sit bone is on each side of the towel and the towel is on the middle. Because we don't tend to pay that much attention to our pelvis, we may have tension in our pelvis the way we have in our back, in our spine, in our necks or shoulders or somewhere else. So if you feel any pain or discomfort just for being for sitting on top of a towel roll, you may want to make the roll lower, or just take it out completely, entirely, okay, and do the same thing. So for now, let's just move the pelvis across the towel, front and back, allowing all the tissues, front and back across the pelvis, to go through the towel. So you're not jumping front to back, you're going across and allowing the pelvis to yield on top of the towel throughout the whole extension of the movement. So you may use your hands and try to allow the weight of the pelvis to meet the towel all the way, front and back. You can also notice your breath, if it flows or not. You can also notice if there are any tender points or tender spots, maybe closer to your coccyx, to your tail, or maybe closer to the pubic bone in the front, or maybe one side is more tender than the other. Whatever you notice, it's what it is. It's okay. It's fine. It's not wrong. It's absolutely right. So let's take the towel and then get back to the first position and just notice right now the sense of the distance between the sit bones, the sense of space, of support, and also notice the breath, the flow of the breath, the space it takes, the availability to breathe. Okay, so keep taking your notes, and now we're going to put the towel across like this. So we're going to sit on top of the towel roll so that our sit bones are on top of the towel, both of them, okay? And now let's transfer the weight through the towel, right and left, from one sit bone to the other. You can use your hands to do so, but if you press against the floor, try not to lift the weight of the pelvis, okay? Use your hands to help you keep the weight of the pelvis going to one side and the other. And just breathe, or notice your breath. Notice if it flows or not, or if it feels stuck. And allow your pelvis to yield all throughout the entire movement. Not just jumping from one sit bone to the other, but allowing the tissues to, the soft tissues of the pelvis to meet the towel. You may also explore it a little bit more to the back, or a little bit more in the front, because the sit bones allow for this to happen. It's not just one spot, it's an area, okay? For me, I like to explore a little bit more forward, because I feel like I tend to fall backwards a little bit too much when I'm sitting. So for me, the awareness of being a little bit in front, for me, feels very helpful, but just feel free to do it either way, okay? Now let's just take the towel and just check in. Notice if there's any difference in your breath, in your support, in your comfort, and just take a few notes. So now we don't need the towel anymore. So I'm going to lay down on my back, okay? Allow the body to settle. And then let's make a little, I don't know how to call this, a little bit of a diamond shape with the hands. And you're going to place your thumbs on your belly button. And then when your hands fingers probably will be touching your pubic bone, okay? And this part of the hands will be on the inside of these iliac bones, okay? These bony structures you find on the side, okay? Like this. And now, move your pelvis, rolling front and back, tilting your pelvis towards your middle fingers or towards your thumb. And notice if it's comfortable or not. And because your hands are on top of your belly, notice if your belly is very hard, very stiff, very tight, or if it's soft and loose. If you feel a lot of tightness, stiffness in your belly, if this is very hard, try to loosen it a little bit. Try to let go of that tension to allow the pelvis to roll almost effortlessly. Okay. Notice if it's comfortable or not. And then let's stay in the middle, and we're going to tilt the pelvis right and left towards your right palm or left palm. And you can use your legs to do so, but because today we are bringing our awareness to the pelvis, let's try and initiate the movements from the pelvis itself, okay? So our intention of movement will be on the pelvis. The legs may move, they don't need to be in the same place, but they move in response to the pelvis. So the legs are not initiating the movement. Okay? So try to explore it if it's available to you today. And notice if one side is more tender than the other, if the belly is still nice and soft, and if the breath flows or not. Okay? And now we can go around the clock, moving the pelvis in clockwise or counterclockwise. Then we're gonna switch around in circles. And you may allow your head and the rest of your body to move as well. Okay, you don't need to be rigid. Okay. Moving the pelvis around. Okay. So now, let's just extend the right leg, for example, and keep the left foot on the ground. And now, we're going to reach the knee, the left knee forwards towards the big toe and back. So the knee is reaching forwards and back. And as I do so, my pelvis naturally rotates to the right, to the opposite side. So if this movement isn't happening, if the pelvis isn't rotating, notice what you can let go in order to allow this movement to happen, okay? As the weight shifts towards the other side, to allow the knee to reach forward, okay? Notice if there's any tightness, any tension, if there's any change on your breath. And if the movement is already happening, you can observe this fold, the skin fold in your groin, okay? When the knee reaches forward, the skin opens and stretches. When it comes back, the skin fold deepens, gets deeper. So it's opening and deepening, okay? Now, once you do this for a while, just extend the leg and notice if you notice any difference between one leg and the other, between one side of the pelvis and the other, or anything that comes up. Now we're going to do the same for the other side. Okay, right foot down, and allow the knee to reach forward, forward and back. The knee reaches forward, and naturally the pelvis shifts the weight to the other side and lifts on the right side. Notice if the left leg is relaxed or if it's doing any effort, or the left hip, the buttock as well. Or if it's just nice and loose, if the belly is loose as well. We're just opening up the front and deepening the fold, the skin fold in your groin. It opens up and it stretches, and then it just deepens and rolls inward. Can you notice the skin doing that? So we do this a few times and then just extend the leg and notice if there's any difference. Notice if the pelvis is even or not. Notice the support or the spaces that are between your spine and the floor. If there's any discomfort, whatever you notice is okay and it's right. Okay, everything you feel, you notice is completely right. So now let's just sit in the first position, whether it's on the floor, on a chair, and just notice if it feels comfortable to be sitting on top of your pelvis right now. Notice if the weight is even on the right and left sit bones. Notice the space and the availability to breathe. What changed? What is coming up now, grabbing your attention that wasn't there in the beginning? And if you want to, you can try and write it down on your journal, okay? And that's it for today. I thank you for your time and for being here. If you like it, do this as often as you feel like. You may also want to share it if you know someone who would benefit from it. So thank you and see you next time. Bye bye.